guy use Title IX to gain access to female locker rooms? He said, no. When the regulations were issued for Title IX, they specifically made distinctions dealing with bathrooms, locker rooms, and changing areas. It is not invidious discrimination to have one facility for male and another for females. 11 families in Virginia, Minnesota have gone to federal court because a transgendered student engaged in, this is quote, twerking, grinding, and all sorts of scurrilous activity in the girls' locker room. In suburban Chicago, a group of parents and students sued the U.S. Department of Education in Illinois' largest high school district after school officials granted transgender students access to the girls' locker rooms. These are real concerns that we're dealing with. The Virginia Constitution, moreover, provides, quote, the mere separation of the sexes shall not be considered discrimination. Article 1, Section 11. I urge my colleagues to read it because they took an oath to defend it. As the author of a 2005 law in Virginia aiming to curtail bullying in school by notifying parents of students who were bullied or who were bullying, I believe there is no place for bullying for whatever reason. My job is to preserve the common good and to respond to the will of my constituents. From what I experienced, there is very little support for and much more opposition to allowing students of the opposite sex, who may dress or identify as the opposite sex, to use these private facilities indiscriminately. I'm telling you, after 13 elections, I think I know how to count. There were 600 or more people in Prince William County at these school board meetings against this, and maybe 50, and I'm being generous, who were in favor. If some Virginia politicians want to support allowing boys and girls in public schools to share lockers, showers, and bathrooms, once the public knows this, I think they will be met with serious opposition. Parents who want to preserve the safety of their children are acting out of love, not bigotry. I stand with citizens around the Commonwealth who right now have no voice because of the intimidation of the media and groups who seek to impose this on the rest of us without following due process. We need record votes in both houses on 1612. It is my sincere hope that Speaker Howell and the rest of the Republican leadership will not bury this bill, but have a full hearing and a record vote. And I would just like to ask Delegate LaRocque, who's supposed to come up here. But I also am going to read a statement after Delegate LaRocque does this.
I'm glad to be here in a room full of people that can respect very diverse viewpoints. I'm a father of 7, raised children, and I want what's best for them, and I'm sure everyone else here wants what's best for their children of Virginia. But good policy has to be rooted in reality, in this case, biological reality. I could not introduce myself as a 6-year-old Asian female without provoking a reaction from these people. Think of what it's like to be a child in a classroom exposed to people whose biological reality is disconnected from physical reality. Or, excuse me, their presentation is disconnected from physical reality. It is confusing at best and harmful potentially as well. So I applaud Bob for bringing this forward. It's a controversial subject. I'll be pro-patronage of the bill. Thanks, Bob.
A statement that I received from a lady who called me up last Thursday. I was on Fox News in Washington, D.C. on January 5th. Early on Thursday morning, this lady was from Fairfax. As I was preparing to go to work, your TV interview with the reporter caught my attention. On any other day, I would have listened with an attentive ear and continued minding my business. But not this morning, not now. I was compelled to call you to express my support for your common sense laws to support our children regarding the transgender policy effort. I am an African American, Christian, single mother, and diehard Democrat. I am supportive of our President Obama and actually can be labeled as a diehard Obama lover. I have friends, family members, co-workers, and consumers who are of the LGBT community. I respect them as for they are my friends, and as family members, I love them. However, I support your efforts to ensure that bathrooms remain gender specific, girls with girls and boys with boys, especially in our schools. I believe this issue impacts our children on so many fronts: safety, moral, spiritual, and ethical. I often ask myself, how did this country get here? My response is because of non-engaged citizens like me. I respectfully request that you keep my name anonymous, simply because I am not prepared to have my life disrupted with hate mail and hate phone calls because of my beliefs. Thank you for your service and keep fighting for our children. And I withheld her name and I've got copies.
Again, we are indeed thankful for your patience and for the length of time that you have sat and listened to this side of the argument. My name again is Travis Witt. I'm on the board of Virginia First Foundation. And our hope is that some of the information shared with you will be of benefit. I'm going to ask those who have spoken to come to the front. And if you would like to ask any of them any questions, then I am saying that this news conference, this press conference is over, and they are available for questions. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Yes, Director, the RVA. Do you guys have any cases or instances in the state of Virginia of sexual assault being committed against somebody in a bathroom by transgender persons?
Sure. Right now, it's illegal to go into a bathroom if you're of the opposite sex, so I would suggest to you there's no experiential basis to have such. We're concerned with the commonality of human experience. If you look at the criminal crime statistics, rapes are committed by overwhelmingly by who? Females or males? Okay? All we're concerned about is keeping people out of harm's way. And the current situation, by and large, does that. Now, people who violate that and want to go into these bathrooms, it's going to be a problem.
I'm Delegate Marshall. I'm very distressed about how you say these bills go to these committees and die. I want transparency all around for everything. What can we do to make you guys be transparent?
Well, this young lady who didn't want to have her name known, for good reason. She doesn't want harassment. I get all kind of hate phone calls and I would... Okay. She said she was not engaged. You need to let your delegate know you want a record vote. You're tired of them coming down here to Richmond and ducking issues.
Right.
They were elected to face...
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Delegate Marshall, you already said publicly that you don't think the speaker is going to let this bill go anywhere. Do you still, what's the update? What kind of reaction have you gotten from the
The
speaker?
rest of the statement, the rest of the news is without pressure from the public. He took Mark Cole's bill last year and shoved it into a committee for which there was no record vote. You didn't see the vote happen. He did it to avoid accountability to the public. That's his disposition. Right now, a bunch of Republicans up here are saying, we don't have to deal with this. We can't deal with it because of pending litigation. That's a fake claim.
Is that what this, what specifically has the speaker told you in reference to this?
He hasn't told me anything. I just said, look, I've been here 26 years.
So you haven't talked to him about your bill?
After being here 26 years and working with the speaker, he doesn't, look, he took Mark Cole, asked Mark Cole what happened to his bill last year. Asked Delegate Barack, who was here, what happened to his bill who dealt with it.
Right.
Every bill that dealt with this was sent to a star chamber for execution, quietly.
Delegate Marshall.
One here and then right here.
Yeah, Delegate Marshall. You referenced to Forbes rankings in your statements right there. I wonder what years those were from, and how do you square that with the most recent report they had that said North Carolina lost something like $600 million in revenue?
That is a back-of-the-napkin fake news for consumption for
Forbes
people,
is a pretty
excuse me,
big
I wanna finish this,
publication.
people like yourself. The same year that they did this, they were ranked #2 for business. The governor said, hey, there was a company who was going to go to North Carolina, but they came to Virginia, by God, because they were going to show the people in North Carolina something. They came to Virginia, it has the same policy. Men cannot use, when you came up, what did you come up 64 or 95? Did you stop at the ladies' room on the interstate?
I use the bathroom in my house.
I don't think you did. If you had to go to the bathroom, you wouldn't do it. Now, you know that's the case. There are community swimming pools in Prince William County where men and women go. Do you want men going into those bathrooms?
What are the number of cases then of people
The point here
using those
is,
bathrooms?
we have a procedure for dealing with this. It has worked well. Right now, in Prince William County, all these situations with transgender individuals are handled on a one-to-one basis, and there's been no problem. and it's been respectful of the individuals, it hasn't caused controversy. The efforts are coming because Mark Herring has in effect effected a constitutional revolution in Virginia without accountability to the public. Local governments don't have the authority to do this, and because the Speaker and the Republicans have refused to deal with this, the appetite has grown for the accretion of power. The governor, who said last night, I don't want to deal with social issues. What's he doing? He issued an executive order dealing with what? Sexualizing Virginia's contracts for over $10,000. You've got to prove now that you're not discriminating against people with sexual orientation differences or sexual identification. He's interjecting these issues. Hey, these people are smart too. Ask them some questions.
Delegate Marshall,
Hi, yes. I'd like to ask you guys, where do you like me to go to bed? Where do you think, excuse me? Where would you like me to go to bed?
Not here.
I'll give you,
Where do you go now?
What?
I'll give you my perspective.
Which bathroom would you like me to use?
The bathroom, the issue is, as someone has said, in this whole scenario, there ought to be a third choice. There ought to be a place for families. There ought to be a place for individuals who choose not to use the bathroom of their biological birth. That would solve an incredible lot of things, but unfortunately, where are we now? We are now looking at saying, here's what we're going to do. Rather than using the bathroom of biological choice, we're going to use whichever one we feel like using.
Okay,
Rather
so
than
you want
coming
me to
up,
use the
rather,
bathroom
excuse me,
of
sir.
biological choice?
I would-
You called me sir.
I will, my apologies, but my perspective is this. There should be an alternative, and that's the third option, male, female choice. And that eliminates this issue of saying, I get to choose wherever I want to go to the bathroom.
You realize this legislation doesn't address that?
Yeah, this legislation has nothing to do with third choice whatsoever.
Then you haven't read the legislation.
The legislation mandates the creation of a family restroom in every
It
public
does.
facility.
Does it?
It says it permits doing that. That's a sensible way of handling this controversy. Where privacy is preserved for people who don't, where everybody's privacy is preserved.
How would you fund the bathroom?
My privacy is preserved in a stall.
We bring it right back to that one issue. This is about the safety, the security, and the privacy of all of Virginia's children. And when in reality, if we talk about it only as a bathroom bill, we have left out showers, we have left out locker rooms, we have left out hotel rooms, we have left out men playing on women's sports teams, we have left out a lot just because of this one issue. Yes, sir.
Delegate Marshall, again, to follow up on Jake's question, you did cite Forbes magazine. What makes one a fake news article and the other valid, in your opinion? And you're citing Forbes, and they both.
That was published for Forbes magazine. The ranking of the states was published by Forbes magazine. Prepositions count.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi. Delegate Marshall, I was interested in hearing more about hypothetically if the bill ever made it through and then Sessions was made the Attorney General and there was pushback from the NCAA. Could you explain a little bit more about what you would be seeking that he takes action on?
I don't think the NCAA should act as a bully nationwide to promote policies which the Congress has refused to accept. They have never gone on record. And when I read the letter from Tim Kaine and 40-some other Democrats from last year, I guess it was April or May, they recognize that Title X doesn't provide this, doesn't require it. They recognize that the law has not gone this way, but they wanted Mr. Obama to do this. In other words, don't go to Congress. If you actually read the Constitution, all lawmaking powers is in the Congress of the United States, which shall consist of the House and the Senate. They don't want to go the law way. They want to go the radical way and impose this, period.
I understand what you're saying with that, but just specifically of you mentioned the Sherman Antitrust Act. Could you?
Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals identified when there was litigation out there, I think 2015, that the NCAA can be considered to be subject to the Sherman Antitrust Act, which regulates the operations of monopolies. Their conclusion, not mine. So if the NCAA is threatening Virginia, we manage we can get this passed to the House and the Senate, and we can override the governor, because he said he's not going to sign this, even though he has his own social bills. If the NCAA at any point between now and then threatens that in Virginia, I'm writing Attorney General Jeff Sessions and saying, look at what the Ninth Circuit did. I'd like you to examine further monopolistic practices of the NCAA. That's all.
And I'd like to follow up, that's at a national level, the NCAA. In Virginia, we have the VHSL. Should the VHSL propose similar measures and enforce them, we're faced as both parents and as school board members with a situation of, do you continue to be a member of VHSL? Because now what you're telling your student athletes who are at all levels participating, competing, and often competing for scholarships to go to college, that they don't have a level playing field. And that certainly calls into question that this is not just at an NCAA level, but you have issues that are interstate as well as intrastate, if you have federal overreach demanding this. And if frankly the Congress wants this, they can go ahead and pass the law, but pushing this down to the local school board level